Okay, we're going to talk about how to find volume. When we're looking at volume, we are looking at a three-dimensional shape. When we are looking for volume, we're trying to find all the area that's inside that three-dimensional shape. So the first thing that we look at is a cube. The interesting thing about a cube, or what's different, is that all the sides are the same, because this cube is really 6 squares put together. So if you think of this like a tissue box, the volume is going to find out how much room is inside of the tissue box. Again, we have a formula for volume. We get out our star reference chart and we look at volume. We've been in area. Now we're looking under the heading of volume. We have two different options. We have a cube and a rectangular prism. Well, this picture that we first looked at is a cube. All the sides are the same. The formula for cube, volume equals sides cubed. So our formula, volume equals sides cubed. So let's say our sides were each 6 inches. Well, I know that if one side is 6 inches, that all of my sides are 6 inches. So again, I'm just going to use my formula to help show me what to do. I do not have volume yet. S means sides. I know the sides are 6 inches. And cubed. Remember that cubed is not a 6 times 3. The cubed means how many times is your base, the 6, repeated. So really what we're looking at is 6 times 6 times 6. Now we also want to be careful here. We don't want to skip count 6, 12, 18. This is not a skip count. It's actually a multiplication problem. So I'll start off with 6 times 6, which is 36. But I still have to multiply the other 6. 36 times 6 is 216. Unit of measure is inches. The way we show that this is volume is we put our cubed. That means that the inside of that tissue box, as we said it might be, is 216 inches cubed. Now where that is different is if we're looking at a rectangular prism. If we are looking for the volume of a rectangular prism, notice our sides are not all going to be the same. So there is a different formula. If we look back on our formula sheet, remember we're under volume. Our options were a cube or rectangular prism. Well, this one is a rectangular prism, so I'm going to use V equals LWH, length times width times height. So my formula, V equals LWH, length times width times height. Okay, so let's say we have a length of 5, a width of 3, and a height of 2. Okay, my picture is not very good for those numbers, but we'll go ahead and use them. We're going to use the formula just as we have before, plug in the numbers that we do have. I know my length is 5, my width is 3, my height is 2. Side by side by side, we're going to multiply. So I know 5 times 3 is 15. I have not yet used my 2. 15 times 2 is 30. My volume of the rectangular prism is 30. Let's say they're inches, and we show volume with cubed. But what if we had one that offers us the base? the base on volume is length times width. So in other words, we can use this picture again, but this time we're going to, I'll make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so this time I'm not going to give all the different numbers. This time I'm going to say the base is 15 and my height is 2. Well, we just used a formula of length times width times height. But there is another formula on our formula sheet. If we look at that, back to volume, rectangular prism, we use this one, but look, there is another one. This says volume equals base times height. Okay, so volume equals base times height. Well, my base is 15, but if you just look back to what we just did, I had a 15 here, but how did I get it? Well, remember, I multiplied the length times the width, and I got the 15. What that means is when you have a base is the whole bottom piece of that box. So if we could see through it, it would be this whole bottom piece that's a rectangle. The length was 5, the width was 3, the whole base is 15. Some questions give you the base, some questions don't. So if you're given a question where they give you the base, you can use this formula so that you're just able to plug it in. Again, I don't have volume. This time I do have a base. My base is 15. My height is 2. Volume equals, well, 15 times 2 we know is 30. And it ends up the same answer as this. So on many of the formulas we talked about with area, when we have two different formulas along the same line, they actually work the same. They look different, and these mean the same thing, length times width and base. However, they just look a little bit different, and you're pulling from different numbers. Some questions will give you length times width times height. Some will go ahead and give you the base. So you're going to use whichever one you have the information for. Sometimes the question will actually give you, we'll get a new piece of paper, they'll actually give you volume. So maybe they say the volume is 30. The base is 15. And the question is, what is the height? Well, again, we have information for volume. I still have to use a formula. I just have to decide, do I have length, width, height, or base height? Well, let's look back at our information. I have base. I'm looking for the height, so I'm going to use the one that has the B in it for base. B equals BH. Again, left to right, fill in what you have. This time, do I have volume? Yes, so I'm going to write it in. This is the piece a lot of you forget, is you leave that out even when you have it, but you need it to calculate the height. Do I have base? Yes, base is 15. Do I have the height? No, but I don't want to just let go of that H, because that H reminds me I'm still looking for something. I have a missing number. So how am I going to calculate height? Well, I know by reading this, 15 times something gives me 30. If you're not sure what that is, I can always divide by 15. That cancels that one out and leaves us with H. Whatever I do to the right, I do to the left. 30 divided by 15 is 2, and I'm left with a height of 2. So again, just use the formula that you have the information for, plug your numbers in, and it will help you find your answer.